Hello, everyone. Okay, so I am the Remedy, and this is the Creativerse stream. This is the second stream that I've done, so welcome aboard. It's nice to have you guys around. Let me know if you can hear me correctly, if it's too low, if it's too loud. Just let me know, and I'll adjust it for you guys. So today, I want to go ahead and cover a little bit of like a recap of what we did last week. I talked about what Creativerse was and who the makers were, as Playful Core, and also covered some of the information that was on their FAQ that's in their community stream or community forum on Steam. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and rewatch that video, or you can go ahead and look at the FAQ that's already out on their forums. I believe they also have it stickied, so it's right at the top. This week, the thing that most people are probably going to be coming here for is going to be the spawning mechanics for spawning pads. That was not originally what I was going to cover, and so I had already planned out a little bit of a behind-the-scenes information for the game. So how to change the keybinds, how to download, install, and all that. I'm going to scrap all of the download, install, and all the main menu information. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the keybind because I see a lot of people having confusion about how to change the keybinds. And so I'm going to go ahead and change a couple of keybinds. Attempt to get that to work in the game and see how that works, and you're going to follow along with me and you're going to see how that is done. Right after that, we will go into the spawning mechanics, which is, like I said, is something I saw that was all over the forums. People were confused. Is it 8 by 8? Is it 16 by 16? Why not just do 128 by 128? At least then you're guaranteed to get a spawn. There are some mathematics to how to figure out exactly where and how to place the stuff that you want, but we'll go into that in just a bit. So you're going to get a little bit of a breakdown into how Creativerse actually works as far as the chunks are. Let me go ahead and get a few things situated real quick for us to get started. And if you have any questions, go ahead and place them right there up in the chat, and I will be more than happy to go ahead and start answering any of them. Hello, Kalachloe and Arnomeki. I'm probably botching how to say your names. Alright, we've got all sorts of goodiness going on here. There we go. That's the screen that I was looking for. Sorry about that. Alright, so in order to change your keybinds, first thing you need to know, the game Creativerse is written in the Unity engine, and you're using a program that somebody else has already established for their inputs. It's called C input. You can go to their forum and figure out their mechanics on how to actually find all the appropriate keybinds that you can actually use. Or I put a link in the Creativerse forums that will actually cover that as well. Can I turn up the volume? Yeah, I believe I can. Just let me know whenever I get a little too loud or if it's not enough or whatever. Alright, so first off, the file that you're going to be looking for to change, let me go ahead and open this in the file location, is in Program Files. It's the x86 version. It's in Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Creativerse, Creativerse Data, Streaming Assets, and Config. So if you follow along the side here, so it's all the way down into this file. This is actually in the FAQ, so you can find that. You can see the link is up there. But if you go to the FAQ, which I said is stickied on the Creativerse Steam forums, they will tell you exactly where this file is located. And then what I did is I copied it, because you never want to change the one that's actually in there. You always want to have a backup. So I have a copy of it right here ready for us to play with. Okay, so now this looks all sorts of confusing. I opened this in a program called Notepad++, and what Notepad++ does is it automatically understands the programming concepts and will tab out your information accordingly. If you just opened this in Notepad, it looks horrendous and it's very hard to follow and understand. Notepad++ just makes it clean and easy to understand. Notepad++ is also a free program, so don't worry too much about that. So if we go down here to the default mappings, keyboard_mouse. So these are the default mappings or keybinds for the keyboard and mouse. You can see that we have jump, the submit, all of these right here. Something that has kind of been confusing to me is why these items are the way they are. The scroll button on your mouse, whenever you scroll up, moves it to the right, and scroll down moves it to the left. I would kind of like to see those switch. So that's what I'm going to do, is I am going to go ahead and switch this one to down. And you saw that that had some context menu that had some already available usages, and change that one to up. I'm now going to save it, and then I'm going to switch this file out here with the file that's actually in, by going to open, there we go, actually in the Creativerse file set. So in the Steam assets and everything, you would want to switch these out. So I'm trying to do this without screwing anything up. We're going to make a Since this is the original, I want to make sure that I don't lose it. In case this, for whatever reason, causes any issues, I can always go back to the original, change it back to the original naming convention. Yes, Chloe, I can try to make a highlight file for this. I have never done that before, but I will definitely take a look into that. But yeah, so this is where we're at. We've just switched over the controller mappings.json file to what I wanted. So now the mouse should be, if I scroll the wheel down, the selector for the item selector on the hotbar will go to the left. If I scroll it up, it'll go to the right. No, switch that. If I scroll it down, it goes to the right, and if I scroll it up, it'll go to the left. So that was the quick overview of key bindings. There are so many different key binds that you can actually put. This is that file that I was discussing that I put a link to in the forums that has all the available keyboard inputs and mouse inputs that are there, that are already in the program, that you would type in keypad 0 for the numpad's 0 button. So you can change this to be a left-handed configuration if that's what you're needing. Alright. So here is our Creativerse. Let's go ahead and get this into a better setup for us. And we will go ahead and get started with our actual coverage, what we were wanting to cover today. Alright, looks like everything is up and running and looking good. Let me go ahead and move some files around here. Alright, most of you are already familiar with the main screen, so you can join worlds, go to a previous world. The world that we're going to be going to is Terranova. Thank you, Chloe, for the follow. I appreciate that. So as we let the world load up, I want to let you know I did a lot of work ahead of time this week. I prepared a spawning area. I did not put down any of the spawn chunks. So, well, I guess that is a lie. I did try to put some leaves up here as just a test to see if we couldn't get some leaf spawns. They seem to be the most tricky to get, and some people had mentioned maybe doing a too thick to get the required block count per chunk. So I have cragwood and ashenwood here. Now that being said, I set that up and then I logged out, so it may need me to be in the presence of it for a while to activate. In here is where we're going to have our spawning zoo. This is going to be a room that we will have our lava spawner, stalactite spawner, and our corruption spawner. More than likely what will eventually happen is there will be a central room here that will allow you to access all of them. The reason it's made this way right now is so that you can see the blocks. So something special that I did here that is not required. This was for my testing as I was looking. It takes a long time. For what? For making the highlight video or for making this? Yeah, this took quite a while. But you won't have to do this unless you want to for your own spawning pads. What I did is I figured out how the command for looking up your position, your coordinates, your XYZ coordinates, which is the // that reveals the coordinates. Yeah, so K Harper 88, welcome to the channel. She had some corruption water kind of splash all over her area and just all sorts of nastiness. So I was helping her clean it up, and that was very laggy. So what's special about these 4 blocks right here that I'm standing on is that this is the origin point. So the very center point of all 3 of these blocks, right where my cursor is, that is 0, 200, 0. So if we go to the left and forward one right here, this is going to be our first chunk. I outlined it in torches and I kind of lit it up. This right here is a chunk. It's a 16 by 16 area that the game sees as one region. In order to, and this comes straight from the devs, so I believe it was Playful David who actually revealed that our chunks are 16 by 16, and he said that we wouldn't be able to really figure out where the chunks were. So I figured if I went to 0, 0, I could figure it out pretty quickly, and I did. This is how the chunks are loaded. So it starts at the origin point and builds outward in the 4 directions. So the world's basically set up into 4 quadrants. This is the chunk we're going to be using. The minimum. Hello, Minx. Welcome to this channel. Hello, RP. I see you there under the name of Smiley and Mesa. The very basic. Let me see if I have them. I do. Okay, so the very basic spawning platform is only 8 by 8. That is all that is required. If you see, like I said, we're up at the 200 point. So there's literally all these are crafted blocks. This is the stacked stone wall. So there's no spawning spaces available anywhere around me for quite a few blocks. If I were to take my markers down and start placing okay, so this is a good thing to note. So when I change the controller JSON, it looks like it is not registering the new things. So I would probably have to restart my computer. That's not too big of an issue. I'm not going to deal with it. I'll change that at a later time and then get back with you guys and see how that works. So this is where the first block was going to go if we were running to do this first chunk. And we would need to do an 8 by 8. And from what I can tell, yes, you can build these anywhere. The reason that the spawn mechanics are weird is because it's based off of how many of a certain block are within a chunk. So if you notice that this chunk is a 16 by 16 and all we are required to have is an 8 by 8. That means that a quarter of the chunk needs to be one specific type of spawning area, and it needs to be the majority of the spawnable locations. So if everywhere else is lit up, if everywhere else is crafted blocks, then this will become an active spawner. That's why a lot of people are having some issues with spawners, is that they're building 8 by 8s, but they have other spawning areas, and those spawning areas are counting against them. And that is completely what I think is what's going on. So this is now an actual spawning area. If I get rid of the torches and make this not so bright, it will eventually activate. So I'll go ahead and remove these now that I went ahead and did out this entire area with the chunks so that you guys could see that this is a 4 chunk area. It's a 2 by 2. Also, spawning pads take time to activate. Not all the time. I would assume that they are, but that being said, you can have a stacked spawning pads. So you can have one layer that's stalactite, and then the next layer up you can have that something else, and that should still work within, you know, because it has to do with the spawnable areas. Also, another interesting point to take here on this, I've done some testing, not enough to be conclusive. Thank you, 3D Loki, for the host. So I did some testing with this, and I believe that if there are spawnable points over here, so if I had dirt over here, or if I had sand, so it's a block that can be spawned on, but not necessarily if this had a majority. So if I had 51% of this chunk with stalactite and the rest of it was dirt, the entire chunk becomes a spawnable area for stalactite level mobs. So you would get worms and the miru. That being said, I have not seen enough conclusive evidence for that to be the case to say that all 100%. It is my opinion that that's what's happening, and that's why some people are ending up with random spawns outside of their spawners, such as the thing spawning in an area that is a corruption, has a corruption spawning pad, but it's not inside the spawning pad. It'll spawn outside. Okay, so now this has been built. It's an 8 by 8. I have built this already before, so I know that it does work. Sometimes it takes time, like a full day-night cycle for it to activate. Kind of like with Rockzilla. With Rockzilla, he tends to spawn during the morning. Like during the morning, and if you kill him, he may have a chance of spawning again. That seems to be the case with these, only they activate at night. So when you're trying to get mobs that are used to dark areas, they will activate at night. Now right now there's probably some light streaming in through this window that's causing issues for that spawning area. So that'll be why the nighttime spawn is important for that. The other thing is, I'm not totally sure if timing might not have an issue. Okay, so K-Harper, you think that there needs to be a little bit of light for the corruption? I was building a pad in corruption and it was spawning like crazy until I filled the last ceiling block. Then it stopped cold. You know, I don't know. I have not needed any light for any of the corruption spawn farms that I have built or looked at. it could just be that you updated the spawning mechanics and so they froze and needed to be reset, which that can be done by going out of the area. So I have a teleporter here that teleports me back to my main base. Whenever you have this long loading time, that means that you're loading chunks that are far away, and so that means that you're deloading or unloading the chunks that you were in, unless somebody else is in there. And you can get a chunk reset to happen by doing that. So now if I go right back through this chunk is now fresh loaded, and it will see that spawning pad as an established spawnable area. And if you hear me having the sniffles, I apologize. It seems to have been that I've caught a cold. Alright. I was just doing a little quick check on the leaves. I don't see any changes yet with that. But yeah, so once we have at least 8x8, which I believe Loki was the one that gave me that information from a dev, is that it was at least an 8x8. And like I said, I have had worms, I have had chests, and I have had Miru spawn on this one pad. That being said, we can go ahead and build this out another 8 and fill out this chunk, and then this whole entire chunk will become activated as a spawning pad. So, but that's the basics behind the spawners, is that you need to have them filling a chunk. What more often happens with people that I've seen is that they have these 3 in the chunk that they're wanting to have spawns in, and then, okay, that's not quite as good an analogy here. Let me get a little bit more. Alright, so they build their spawning pad, but the problem is that they have, you know, like this is where the chunk border is, so it's not counting this line here over for the spawnable area, seeing this area right here, and that's not enough. So I think that's what's happening, is we're not playing the chunks to their strengths, and so we're ending up with what would be partial spawning pads that aren't activated. I also did a corrupted one, and it's close to a lava one. Yeah, you can have them really close, and I've seen people have them on top of each other and not have any issues. I myself have never gotten stacked ones to work, which is why I'm kind of doing this test with the leaves up there, right above this. But like I said, so I found the origin point, and I built off of that. So I know for a fact that that is in one chunk. And once again, the way you do that is you do the / in your chat and hit enter. You can get your position. You can take the X coordinate and the Z coordinate, which are the outside 2 numbers, round those to the nearest number. So 6.7 rounded to the nearest whole number is 7, and negative 7.6 rounded to the nearest whole number is negative 8. And then what you would do is you would actually do a mathematical function called modulo. My testing base reminds you of Gary Mod. That's a little scary. I'm not going to lie. Now I kind of want to turn this into a PvP arena. Of course, the Miru aren't wanting to participate in this this endeavor. I have actually had a leaf spawner work with just a flat area, but it was a large flat area of leaf. So we're still trying to figure out the spawning mechanics. K Harper, Bomberman. But yeah, so let me think. The mathematical formula that you're going to be wanting to use, the It's not the correct. The mechanic that you're going to be using is called modulo. And anyone who's done programming before or has had any computer science classes, that should sound pretty familiar. What it is it's simply finding the remainder of a equation. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the number of your x position and you're going to divide that by 16 and find the remainder. And that's how many points away from the origin point you are from the beginning of that chunk. And I'll explain that in just a little bit. Thank you for the follow, Wooly. So, let's look at where I'm at now. So as you can see, I am now at -1, -15. Right here is technically the beginning of the next chunk over. So what you would do is you would take your so let's say I'm right here. This is at -21z position. We're still at -1, which is fine. That means that we're in this chunk right here. We're at the 0 chunk line. So -21 divided by 16 is 1, but you have this weird remainder of 5. So because it's a negative number, that means that I am on the -x scale. I need to move 5 to the, in this case, to the east, I believe is the, no, to the north. Yeah, on the z scale. So I need to move 5 blocks over, and that's going to be the point. Is that making sense? Teaching math is not exactly what I expected to do in my life. So if that didn't make sense, I will try again to make that make more sense. All right, I'm glad that that made sense. Yeah, so all I'm doing now is I'm building it out. And oddly enough, you guys can see better than I can, so I'm kind of looking over at my other screen to see where where everything is located. Five, 6, 7, 8. Just invite me over to set it up. Alright, so this would be the size of the full chunk if I was going to have this loaded into this one entire chunk as just the Miru spawner. I would just fill this in now. And obviously the more of a chunk that you have loaded, the better spawn rate that you should have. But an 8x8 is all you absolutely must have. You just have to remember that it has to be the majority of spawnable locations. So just like in other games, you have to either brighten up the areas outside of the spawning area, or you have to change the spawning areas to non-spawnable areas. Welcome to Zen's world. And more than likely what's going to happen is as I'm building this, I'm going to end up with a Miru or a lava worm or a worm. That's such a hard name to say, the worm. So you'll probably get to see me jump. I don't do surprises well. Thank you, K Harper. So essentially, once you've discovered this, like whenever I said that I was going to build that room in the very beginning, yeah, you're not the only one. A lot of the hermits can't say it either. I know, so they say wum. It's really, honestly, it's not that difficult. You're just dividing by 16 to find out if you're at a point that's evenly divisible by 16. um, yeah, probably just a little. It's a programmer humor thing. So this point here, this entire wall, because I've made this entire chunk out of the spawnable block that I want, I can now take blocks away. So I can build a wall here where this chunk is, where this chunk line is, and it wouldn't affect my spawner at all. And that's eventually what's going to happen, is there's going to be a room in this area that has access to the 4 spawning areas, the zoos. Since you already have them, you're okay. Yeah, if you've got something that works, that's great. I just wanted to defeat the myth of having to have the walls and ceilings of the material. That is not necessarily needed. It's based off of a percentage of blocks in a chunk. So that was essentially all that I was wanting to get out there for the spawning pads. Which oddly enough I thought was going to take a lot longer than it did. So I guess that's a good thing. I do want to explain how the coordinate system works. If you're familiar with how coordinate systems work, then I apologize, but I have found several occasions where this has been very helpful to know, especially in this game where we don't have maps. So you can use the // command to get your current coordinates. But then how do you use those? Well, we have a compass at the top of the screen, and so all you need to remember is that this is based off of an XYZ axis. Actually, you know what? If you're already on this server, then you are more than welcome to come and actually decorate it. This was just more bare bones skeletal. Okay, so K Harper, the way chunks are work is they're actually a part of the Unity programming language, or the engine itself that is designing this game is designed within. So they didn't design the engine itself. They built off of an engine that was already in existence, which is great. A lot of games do that. But what that does is that allows us to know that there are familiar aspects of the game. So the way chunks work is that a chunk is essentially a procedure, and the engine says that I'm going to build chunk X here, and it runs through its procedure for how the chunk is put together. Then it moves to the next one and builds the next one. It just does it really fast. All right, so you guys want to see me play? You want to see me get killed? That's probably what you want to see. So yeah, so that's the spawning mechanics. The XYZ coordinates, Y is actually, that's the vertical, so that's easy enough to know. Let me go ahead and dump some stuff off in the chests here. The Z positive going in the positive direction is north, so negative is south. X positive is to the east, and negative is to the west. So that's as easy as it is. That's all I was going to let you guys hear about that. Let me make sure I have everything that I need. All right. So what are you guys wanting me to do? There are several things that we could do. I need materials for one. But yeah, so this was my first lava spawner that I ever did. And I was under the impression that you had to have all the crazy, like, ceiling and floor and walls, all of the materials from that area. That's not actually needed. The only reason this isn't spawning anything is because, one, I haven't been here, and two, I've got a lot of light. Build a thing. Well, it just so happens that I have a large area for a thing. And it was something that I was going to actually use tonight for building obsidian. That's awesome. Uh, I am looking at... Okay, so this is my building style, or at least my decoration style. Oh, hi. Um, I left the door open so the thing's gonna get loose. There's nothing in there right now, but that would have made me scared for a second. What I plan on doing with that room is I'm going to make a dark altar, so a sacrificial altar in which you sacrifice dirt blocks, wood blocks, all of the corrupted blocks. Um, Build something with limestone. Loki, why couldn't we be working on your build right now? I've got all of this limestone in here. Now we could use. Um, Cells and extractors. No, not sacrifice the players. Although, with the thing that might be jumping in there occasionally, some people may think that. Alright, let's see. Is there any other obsidian that's clearly easily available? Alright. Let's look at what I have unlocked for the limestone and see what all we can build. You're using bedrock on the cave? Which cave? Oh, in the yeah, a parkour course. That's a possibility. There are quite a few things that I'd like to try to do. One of the concepts that I have is going to be a lawn darts game. I actually finished building a basic spawning pad. That was what we were up at the sky base for. Um, and so what I'm going to be doing is a lawn darts. And what you do is you climb up to the build height, and then you jump off with one item in your inventory, and where you land, you'll have a death statue, and that's your points. So everyone can come and see exactly how many points you got on your landing. So you have to stick the landing. So that is actually a spawning pad, although for whatever reason it's not activating. So that's all you need is the stalactite, first stalactite level spawning pad. We could do the maze, although I definitely want to go get potions before we go and do that. All the nighttime baddies that come and grab you. Sounds like we got someone in our lava. Yep. Couple of worms. Let's use that up. Just don't kill the leafies. Yeah, the leafies actually annoy me more than the pigsies do. Yeah, we could probably do something similar to like a Greek style or a Romanesque type temple type of a thing. Put the dark altar in the middle of it. Oh, looks like now would be a great time to go check out the maze. So if you didn't catch the first... Gonna close the in-game chat. There we go. If you didn't catch the first stream, I decided that I don't like getting caught in teleporter circles where you teleport to a new area the moment you load in, you move, and suddenly you're teleporting back. So I've got mine set up where it's right on the roof, and you just come in here and jump, and you teleport to the area. It makes it pretty nice when people are coming to my base because I know they're always going to end up in my base and not stuck in a loop. There's a random leafy. I shall keep you. You are now a leafy in a cage. Interesting. So this is our community hub. This is where people can come whenever they first start. They can use My Touchstone, which is right over here, and they can get some basic materials to get them going, including some free recipes, which occasionally there's some really nice ones. Most of the stuff, though, we all have. Hello, RP Junkie. So you're working on the museum type of a thing? Wow, it's nicely lit up in here now. I like that. So these are my unlocked recipes. Obviously, lighting glitches are fun. But there we go. There's some. What we're doing is we're making like an ore dictionary type of a thing, and then a staging ground, so that you can test what blocks look good together and whatnot. It is one giant hole in the ground. Did you use TNT? Yeah, a ton of cleanup to do. Yeah, I think that might be a thing. Although I'm really liking the bedrock wall as a wall. I'm going to be honest, it says it's a wall, but I've never used it as one. I always use it as a floor. How many people do we have on the server? I think we are way over our number of 20 people. So if everyone who was on the server tried to play at the same time, they would have problems doing so. And that's the only reason why we're not doing invites to the server anymore. I mean, I suppose people can come as visitors, but the owner of the server has asked us not to hand out the passwords. So, you know, we're going to respect that. This is not actually my server. So we're going to respect his wishes and keep this to who's already in here. That being said, you guys get to come with me weekly and explore this one and several others. So up here, as I jump and fall into the hole, up here you can see that's RP's place. And this is his absolutely mega wonderful build. He built a hedge maze. In fact, it's better to see from his location. So let's go over to RP Junkie's place. He has an observatory that comes off the side of his base that you can look through. There's his epic hedge maze. And it's actually a real working maze. I made it through once, but that was because I got lost and thought I was going back towards the entrance and ended up at the center. So that's what he was saying that we could go do. Oh, and fall and die. So there you go. I promised I would fall to my death, and I now have fallen to my death. It happens more often than I care to admit. This is why RP has all those nice stairs. You're supposed to walk on them, not try to cut corners. Now, I did cover earlier. Yeah, that's a thing. It happens all the time. You don't have any idea. This is how I get death statues. I don't get killed by things very often. I kill myself. Um, so earlier I was talking about configurations, and the lag is always interesting. Uh, so the configuration for the keybinds, I'm not sure why, but the scrolly wheel did not work. So I probably did that wrong. It was probably backwards. I'll look into that more and I'll get back to you guys with that. That being said, you shouldn't really need it for too much longer. In the next update or 2 or 3, so pretty soon, uh, they are planning on coming out with some controls, keybind controls, so you'll be able to change that. I'm not sure exactly when they're going to get that out or where that's going to work out, but currently in the configuration screen, whenever you're first starting Creativerse, oh wait, where was it that I fell? Whenever you're first starting Creativerse, you have the resolution screen, and okay, so that's interesting. Yay, new pottery. So the resolution screen, and then on that top one they have the tab that says that you can change the input keybinds. That does not currently work. It's just kind of there. I'm not sure if that was because that's what they're working on right now or what, but we are looking at having some bindable keybinds. Hey RP, did you clean this off recently of honey, or not honey, but beeswax and chests? Because normally this thing is like absolutely covered in them. And I'm in. Trying to get back out. So this is the edge. Yeah, so I'm wondering if all of the bees that are currently located all over at Nova's place are taking up all the bee spawns. Because normally this is where I go to get my beeswax and wood chests, is I just come to this. Thank you for the follow, Falker. So like that's the only way I find this, is if by pure accident. I was actually looking for the exit. Alright, so yeah, so this is our world. We've got some really epic builders on this world as well. I know Loki has some pretty interesting builds that he's working on, but I'm not sure it's done, so I don't want to go and show it off unless he gives me permission to. All right. Someone messing with water? I'm getting a lag spike there. Messing with water, or bees are about to spawn somewhere. Has anyone else noticed that whenever bees are about to spawn, like you just enter an area and the bees are gonna click over and spawn, that they send out a major lag spike? You don't notice that? Okay, I notice that occasionally. Of course, we both know that I have some wonderful lag issues occasionally. What was it, 5 minutes before I saw that one leafy go following you? Looks like somebody took all the obsidian that was in there. Okay, that's no problem. Alright, I really think it looks nice, so I'm going to go ahead and show it off then. Yeah, I was just going to use the obsidian to go ahead and make extractors. Is that a definite that those are whenever we're going to be getting it, the new biomes? Let's go outside so you guys can see what's outside first. Bye, Cal Chloe. Thank you for showing up and watching the stream. I am somewhat surprised, Loki, that you have not corrupted this water and healed it. I'm just going to say, that kind of surprises me. I thought that was your thing. So in other words, in the next month to 2 months, we're looking at probably having to restart. That's not a big deal. So this is his lodge that he is building. Absolutely amazing. Shut the door in my face. That's what I do. No, that's a Polyan's thing. No, Polyan's thing is to do it and then leave it corrupted and just be like, yeah, you guys could just deal with it. That's okay. It looks cool. I like his signs that say caution. Do not disturb. So it's, I mean, I really like this. It reminds me almost of a like a ski lodge from the outside, but like a longhouse, like a Nordic longhouse on the inside with these fire pits in here. I really like the design of this building. And then that's the master bedroom. Here's like the crafting area. Then on the other side there is like a mini library. And some extra books. And then on the top is going to be a... Were you going to do a tower? Is that what the original idea was? But the top of the tower was going to go up to the top of that dirt mound, the grass block mound. So it was going to be a pretty large build. I missed the stairs. Is that a reference to me jumping off the cliff earlier, or is that is that actually a thing? Is there stairs in here somewhere other than the stairs that I just... Yeah. So in other words, it's a huge build, and it took forever to get all the floor done. We had, it was me, RP, and Loki just trying to get the floor cleared, and I showed up at the last and helped with like 5 minutes of it. The other two did the rest, but then Loki came in and built the walls up in the ceiling. Yeah, the time where then they changed the torches to burn fire and burn wood, fire. Uh, and so the entire place went up in smoke. So now they're using the gas lamps. Wise choice. And then there's a secret somewhere off into the world. I'd have to look at my files to see the screenshot to see where it was. You just blew up the mountain. This mountain, the one that's right over here? What is up there? Oh yeah, it looks like you turned some coal into diamonds up there too. Got random diamonds up at the top. But then they have this cool hole through the entire mountain over here. That goes all the way through. Look like maybe there's some Miru dancing around over there. Okay. I just blew up a secret. Yeah. You mean the thing Kraken was teasing about? Secret hint time? I promised I wouldn't. Hi, Bubby Wubby. What's up? Thanks for joining us. Looks like we're getting people from all over the world now. That's awesome. I will say this, the secret is actually pretty fun. You'll like it if you figure it out. So does the sky bridge go into anything yet, RP? Or do we just have the bridge in progress? Let's get some cool scallops underneath there with the wire. I jumped out, but what I actually came here for was for some of the obsidian that we mined out earlier. Enough fun. Yeah, that bridge goes a very long way. I really like it though. It's gonna be cool once it, you know, as it progresses, I guess I should say. I'm gonna go ahead and take half of these obsidian. Well, I'll just take 3 of the stacks. Is that okay? If not, I'll put some back. I found all of my data chips actually out on the grass in the plains. I seem to get a lot of wooden chests out there and such. I have not. In order to be subs, in order to get subs, I get followers, which is great. But in order to get subs, you actually have to have quite a few views and quite a few followers consistently viewing your videos. You also have to be streaming 3 times a week in order to become a Twitch affiliate. Once you're a Twitch affiliate, then you can actually get the subs. But yes, if you guys haven't, go ahead and followed the stream. I would appreciate a follow. That way you know whenever I am going live. I do Creativerse every Friday night from 10 p.m. till midnight in Central Standard Time. If you're around the world, that's the -6 world clock time. Yeah, I thought that I'd seen those in the forums. If once you get all those decoded from Morse code and it still looks cryptic, you might want to try to, decrypt them. That'll be as close as a hint as I will give, or else I will have broken my promise. Showing off your build? Like you want me to go to your world and show off your build? Is that what you're saying? Because that's definitely something that I'm interested in doing is, yeah, lag. I got some too. One thing that I would like to do with this stream is to do a spotlight of different servers. And so something that I would need is I'd need someone to be on the server to host me as a visitor, and then just kind of show me the highlights of their server. That way, if somebody is streaming or making YouTube videos on their server, their stuff isn't being shown without permission. Also, that way, we have someone who's knowledgeable about what the builds are and where the best ones are. But I've seen some of your stuff on the forums, and it looks amazing. Right up there with what everyone else seems to have such great builds. I build typically into the ground, and it's not because I like dwarves. It's because I have no aesthetic bone in my body when it comes to the outside. Like I feel like I did all right in the interior here, but you come outside and it's literally a box into the side of a mountain. Oh, hello there. Go away. I actually started building up here, and I'm working on an observatory, but man, I really like the adobe blocks, but I can't seem to get the colored adobe. This chest spawns over and over again. Okay. But I figure what I'll do is I'll build this up and then have a glass dome across the top so that people can go up and observe the beautiful night sky and the skyline. But going back to going across the servers, I do want to do that kind of like a travel around the Creativerse and explore what other people have built, because I know that the VIP server, Creativerse VIP, they have some really large builds in there, and some of them are absolutely amazing. Also, I know that you do some really great builds. I know that Loki has some pretty good builds in this one. Like I just showed off his in-process work right over there. And then also Minx and Kitty have some amazing stuff on their server. Okay, so if you want me to go to your server, that is fine. Yeah, I can go to a Mega Blacks and do the server. Arnomeki, did she actually put her touchstone there? Is that with the zoo? Um, so Arnomeki, if there's a password on your server, you can private message me that in Steam. Not now. Don't do it whenever we're actually streaming, because that'll pop right up in the stream and everyone will see it. But after the stream, go ahead and send that to me, and I'll set up a time and we can go and you can show off your server. So this used to be the zoo. There were no lights. Looks like it's turning into a mine now. But this is where Loki started. This is his factory. He had tons of smelting and processing power. It was awesome. It's dark and gloomy. Alright, Anameki, I would love to do that. Maybe we can go to Omega Blacks tonight and check them out. I really like that pattern, the limestone wall and the bedrock wall. I never noticed that. So there's a Lumite slab if nobody has seen it. It actually looks really cool. But yeah, I really liked this build. This was fun whenever this was all dark and you had all sorts of mobs coming in here. And then here is the large moat of healing water that K. Harper just learned how to make. This thing goes forever. How long did it take you guys to actually convert this? Yeah, definitely. I really like that. To give people an idea of what can be done in Creativerse, just to show off some of those things. Actually, do you mind logging in to Omega Blacks and then I'll join you there and you can show us around? Because I could do that right now. It took almost 3 hours. So there you go, K. Harper. That's about what you're looking at for yours. You're going to probably have to have at least another 2.5 hours, 2 hours before that's done. So in case nobody knows, if you corrupt water, it will spread. And it will spread to dirt and rock and wood and leaves, and it will corrupt everything it touches that are those blocks. Minx, are you talking about in the Omega Blacks server? Because okay, well then I will come over. We're gonna go ahead and explore Omega Blacks. And here we go. Yeah, well, see, that's the problem that K. Harper is having now. They had the water updates causing massive lags, and they were freaking out because the corruption was spreading. And every time they put down a healing beacon, which they figured out to do that, the healing beacon would cure the local area and then push the corruption farther away. And so pretty much we just let it corrupt the entire water area that it was at. And we've got a black screen. This is taking forever to load. Is this a thing? Do I need to exit this? So it looks like my Creativerse may have just crashed. It's not too big of a deal if it did. I can fix that without too much of an issue. Just give me one moment as I reload. Yeah, it's a big task. Yeah, that's the first time I've ever had the black screen. It's possible that it was because I hadn't reset since logging in with Kay Harper to fix the issues that she was running into. So where would you like me to go ahead and where do we start? I might as well show off the villa since we're in it. How about I step outside and show the villa? So you can use the corrupted leaves for decoration. And see, you just have to be so mean, don't you? Let's jump up here. So here's the villa. It's got upstairs and all these. I can't seem to use the fences whatsoever for anything, and here they are using fences and the iron bars as decoration. I mean, really? I need some bug be gone. These leafies are trying to eat me alive. Alright, here comes Woolly Seasons and Minksaw. And this is Kitten. This is their world. Okay, I can put the sword away so you guys aren't being intimidated. Oh, there's a new spa. Oh, I saw this on the forums. This is an amazing spa. I like this. The cobblestone. Tiles, toiletries, and storage. If only we had those corner blocks for the stairs. That would be nice. And then this looks like it might be the gathering area. I think I may have shown something that you guys are on the process of working on that you were talking to me about earlier. And then this is the dining area with a little kitchenette. What's really great is because you had these forges, if you put something in there, those will actually go on fire on the top and it'll look like you could actually cook something on there. And then we have the stairs up to the top area, which right now has a teleporter. Okay, so Kay Harper, it's funny that you should ask that. The order of the chips is important as to which one goes first. It is not a bunch of words scrambled up, if that's what you're asking. But it is definitely something to do with those letters. Those letters are important. Alright, so these are the willow trees. That I really like these willow trees. These are amazing. I would really like to see these actually make it into the real game as a naturally spawning occurrence. Alright, and so then this is just a giant courtyard right now that's empty. But then we've got this oriental koi pond and kind of like a central area for standing and relaxing. This is the stained glass. You may have seen this actually at my my little base. Was a shop item that you could get. So if someone was on before when the shop was still active, they could actually purchase that. Oh no, I didn't show them the cutout of the corrupted tree. I forgot about that. Good call. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go show Kitten's corrupted tree, the portrait tree. I really like this. It looks really creepy at night, though. Just saying. So inside there, she's got kind of like a tree under glass, which is awesome. And while you are doing that, I can leave. Or not. Whatever. Alright, so what was the playful building? I'm now over at the koi pond. There we go. So what is this building? 217. Oh, that's awesome. So it is actually the playful building, as in Playful Corp. All their computer screens. Thankfully, I think they're doing better for computer screens than just wooden signs. Although if they built the game off of wooden signs, that's pretty impressive. I've got to say, I would really like I would really like to see them come up with a game like this by using signs. The boss's get her done room. You know you're getting older when the chair that you sit in that's normally comfortable no longer becomes comfortable for you. Just as a heads up. Comic book reading area. Crash pad when you need a nap. Somehow I can see that. I can see the guys at Playful sitting down to a nice, last man standing comic book. We're gonna definitely have. You've been sitting too long. That's also possible. I've spent most of the day trying to finish up some things for stuff and things. Shout out to Slipgator. Now that it's daytime, he does during his break as he reads comic books. So, I mean, we are very fortunate. We don't have any fog. We've got the three moons back in the background over there. And we've got some amazing, amazing builds. These are their street lamps. Yeah, I agree. I really like watching Slipgator. He's a YouTube player. He makes videos for Minecraft, and he's also making quite a few videos for Creativerse. He's doing a little Let's Play. I was kind of hoping that he might find his way into the stream so that he could see what I discovered about the spawning mechanics and what I gleaned from the devs about spawning mechanics. Because I know that he was having a lot of questions about it. But, that's cool if he didn't show up. Maybe he just wants to figure it out on his own. That's a very good possibility. This is their library, by the way. I kind of glazed over that one. But, you know, this is where they cook the books. Like every great library needs is a place to cook the books. Down here is where they actually store the books. And they actually do store their data chips and journals in here, which is kind of fun. So you guys want to show off the apartment or the suspension bridge? So I think I'm going to do the apartment after I do the suspension bridge. The suspension bridge I can kind of run across and show people the details. The apartment, that's going to take some time. So I mean, look at this. I absolutely love this. It actually reminds me of what you're doing, RP, with your bridge, only you've got your iron bars going down at the bottom. I like the way you've done yours. Kind of similar feel with this. And then they've got these advanced, or the grand architect torches going all the way up. It looks like it's lit up at night. It's really, really nice. My favorite thing about the bridge, which is odd because I fall so much, but this right here is my favorite thing about the bridge, is a little bit of a parkour course going up. Not too hard. But then because it's over the water, it's like a bungee jump. Whoa, I hope nobody gets motion sickness, because now you're just about to use a bucket. I apologize for not giving warning before I just decided to jump off a bridge. But minks and kittens spend a lot of time building, and I'll come over here and I'm just jumping off the bridge. It's a thing. This right here is the elevator of healing water down to the corruption, which is really cool. They've got all sorts of things down there as well. All the stuff. Yes, so now we're going to go show you where Rockzilla lived for the short time that he was squatting in the apartments on the Omega Black server. So this is the apartment complex, or the condo office, or condo, not office, condo living area. They have a healing water elevator, which is nice because whenever you go into them and you get thrown up, there we go. Why? I failed. There we go. There we go. And we're going up, and ta-da, we are at the very top. Now this is a certain person's home. Coming up here, Minx, I'm at the very, very top. You know I have issues with trying to ride water elevators. I get stuck in them, or it just shoots me straight up, no matter what I want to do. Are you stuck? Am I not the only person that gets stuck? That'd be awesome. I hate feeling alone. So this is Paul's penthouse suite, correct? And look at the details. He's got his own little hot tub, chilling, fireplace with the luxurious lumite slabs around, diamond gilded fireplace area. Here's the eating area. Ooh, I like how you did the table with this. I think you had something else in there the last time I was up here. And here's the high-tech, state-of-the-art. The flames only show up at night. Flames for this? For the fireplaces? Because I'm seeing the flames. I don't know. Now I wish it was nighttime. I'm curious. And this is the up-to-date, state-of-the-art cooktop that he's got. Ah, okay, so the flames... Oh, yeah. Those are harder to see. I forgot about those. I need a new monitor. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you do. And then the chandelier. Oddly enough, that almost looks like a Lumite block inside there, the way that's lit up. I like that. Yeah, so then he has this observing area where he can come out and look at all the little people in the world. And they've got an actual street with the asphalt and salt. A lot of hard work went into this the builds that they've got here. There's the swimming area. All right, let's see if I can actually. Is this gonna be a thing? Haha. So this floor looks like it's like a viewing floor with possible expansion areas for a future room. I think this is where Rockzilla was in one of these rooms. There's actually a picture of it. Yeah, they did an amazing job. Minx and Kitten have great aesthetic taste, much like you. So, you know, the three of you might want to get together and decide on building something together. I don't know. I couldn't even imagine what you guys would decide. Corrupted stone wall. Stairs, not my friend. Okay. I really like that pool from up here. The view of that, the pool area is just amazing. I don't think I've ever noticed. Jump. Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the first time that I've done that. But they've got all these different floors, all the condos. Just an absolute wonderful build. Okay, good. I did not get stuck. I don't know. Does anyone else use these water elevators like this? I occasionally actually get stuck in the pillar of water. And it actually happened to me over at K Harper's server today. And I have to swim all the way to the top or go all the way to the bottom and fall out of the water in order to get out of the pillar of water. So weird. So here is their beautifully landscaped the water goes through the trees fountain. Honestly, I don't mind the trees there. I think that it adds a little bit of wild overgrowth to it, which maybe that's not exactly what you were going for, but I think it looks nice. I think it's funny, though, that they didn't replace the water. Yeah. Enough said about that. Where was the pool at? The pool is over here. Aha. Hey, there's a pigsy in the pool. So here is their pool, and it looks amazing. Looks like it's very clean water to play in. They got their palm trees and their little tables, their poolside tables that people can sit at. And then up here they've got some more pools. I was pretty sure that they actually had a way up, and I was just making my own. But so they've got like 3 tiers of pools over here. I love it. And they got it tiled off with the blue adobe floor, which actually, to be honest, that looks like a shower floor or a pool floor. I mean, that looks like it was custom made for that concept. Does anyone know if anyone's actually made a parkour course for Creativerse yet? Because I would definitely like to take the challenge. I think parkour courses are fun. And it should be quite humorous watching me fall. So there's another palm tree in the distance. I don't know if you guys can see it all that well. But it's actually got a little bit of a curve to it. I really like that. And then, yeah, and then the lights are coconuts. Yeah, so this is Minx's area, if you guys didn't know. She needs to make sure that she has her address made known for everyone, right? I love it, though. And this house is also amazing. You guys are going to like this. Hello, T-Man 2. Nice of you to stop by. Thank you. Here's her little storage area. Right as you walk in. I was not raised in a barn. I will close the door. Her bling wall. Yes, the Minx wall. The wall of Minx. A little sitting area. It'll be much nicer in here once they get the lighting glitches taken care of. Because these are all bookshelves back here. There you go. So that's the kitchen, and this is the cooktop and the sink type of area. Is that what I'm seeing here? I love how they've done the potted plant with the sapling and then the leaves. Looks like a small little shrubbery or small tree. And every area is decorated and thought out. Like even the ceilings have a design on them. I'm lucky to have a matching ceiling, wall, and floor, but they go into the detail of having trims. One of these days I will learn. You guys will get to see me build something and it won't be pretty. Sorry. Trolling on the door. Here's a palm tree from up on the top of it. They've got some empty houses as well that are for people, but this one isn't an empty house. This is one of Minx's, I think. Here's our little fireplace. That's one thing that I'm really impressed with. There's a lot, yeah, and these are available for rent. So if you come to the server and rent it, I suppose. This seems to be a thing. A lot of people are really going out of their way to make incredible fireplaces. Ooh, I like this with the reinforced glass underneath the stairs. That's very nice. It's the small details. Okay, I don't think you had any of this detailed out whenever I was here the last. Very nice. nice, very nice. And this tree is one of those trees that just kind of randomly grew there as well, didn't it? So like here's a pink bungalow. It's a 1-bedroom for rent. It's almost like a studio. It's kind of a nice with the red adobe. But they've got all sorts of these houses, and each one is completely different from the next. Like here's an outdoor fireplace with an indoor, almost like an oriental screen type of a thing going on there. So there you go, people. If you're wanting to know how to make trees grow, mess with water. And so we just went through the entire city. We missed a couple of buildings that were over here. Oh, there's a log cabin in the woods. I don't think I've ever seen the log cabin. Oh, yeah, I did. I have seen the log cabin in the woods. I don't think I've ever been inside it. I don't know if anyone else was looking on the forums, but they actually have the Christmas tree. That's in this world, isn't it, guys? The Christmas present to Playful Corp. And then this is the little log cabin. So very simple, similar to something that Nova was trying to do, but he was having a lot of issues with the cragwood logs causing lag. So it's interesting. I had forgotten that you guys had done this. It looks really nice where you guys have it, but it's not causing any lag. Oh, surprise! There's a bookshelf there over here as well. Oh, you pulled down the ornaments. Well, that's sad. Well, can we go see it at least a little bit, what's left of it? Let people see on the stream and glass down into the dark room. Ellie. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas specifically about what kind of builds you would like to see, like I said, there are a couple things that I am planning on building, and I can definitely build them on the stream if that's what you guys are wanting to look at. I'm not sure how to make building interesting to watch, but you're more than welcome to watch my process. The first is the sacrificial altar, where you sacrifice good wholesome blocks such as grass and dirt and stone and wood and leaves, and the corruption corrupts it and you get corruption back, or corrupted stones and stuff back. Ooh, there's the thing. Just a lonely sign. Oh, how sad. Merry Xmas. with all the party poppers and the Santa hats and the giant tree with the Playful Corp logo at the top. This was an amazing build. And all the presents. And you guys said that each of the presents actually had something in it at some time, didn't you? Like they could actually open it and there was a chest in there with stuff in it. And so each of the developers got their own present and they could come in here and open it. That was a brilliant idea. I like that. Kitten said yes, in case you can't read that on the stream. And then you got Rudolph with his red nose and everything. Yeah, so if you guys ever want to thank the guys at Playful for stuff, you can build interesting concepts like this and actually dedicate it to them. They really got a kick out of this, I know that for sure. I spoke with a couple of them and they're just absolutely amazed by it. I did not show off the giant robot. Is there a teleporter pad or a touchstone that's right next to that so we can go to there quickly? Okay, so kittens. So the future of the stream. So I'm going to do some builds. We'll also take a look at the spawning pad once it's gotten activated. In fact, I may go check that out before I leave. Is go back into my world or into the server that I play on and check that out. Okay, here we go. So here's the distance view of it, and I fall. Alright, so there we go. I'll take them down, I'll show them that real quick. So there is a giant robot with a giant Lumite sword swinging it over his head. And there's actually a sign. What's this sign say? Guardian Protector MK4. So Guardian Protector Mach 4. We've got some hydraulic systems in and a pigsy. Silly pigsy. I'll take your stuff. Very, very creative build. So I'm going to jump down to the corruption area and show you guys what they've got going down in their corruption. Here's a long tunnel. They've got a reinforced glass all the way around. You can see the substrata of the Creativerse world as we pass through it. Stalactite level. And as we get deeper down, we'll start getting into the lava level, where there's apparently a keepa. And then we enter into the corrupted area. And if this is the same as, yeah, another water elevator, which we all know how well that works for me. There we go. And then we're walking on the end of the world. It's the end of the world as a copyright. And poof, here is the subway station that they've got built at the bottom of their corruption area. A little waiting area. And then here is they're calling it a maglev, or like a monorail, or a bullet train type of a thing, where you can sit and go from station to station and look at all the happy, corrupted ickiness that's going on outside. And go between the train cars. And at the front and back of both is the area where the conductor or engineer, I'm not even sure what they're called on the maglevs, but where they would sit and control the speed and speak over the loudspeakers. Very cool build. How do we actually get into the tunnels? There we go. So here's the railing system for one. And as you can see, it's completely encased by glass, so you're safe in here for the most part. Corrupted Chizard scoots on by, trying to come say hello. Isn't that a phrase that people use for like steak tartare under glass or something? Makes me feel more like an hors d'oeuvre than safe. And this was a naturally occurring lava spout, so there was a lava pool that had a hole through to the corruption. And I have not actually traveled the entire way across. Last time I was here, it wasn't completed. So I'm assuming this actually connects to the other side of the city. So we were only in one side of the city. There's actually a second half of the city that's pretty far down there. And there are some amazing views from that pathway. So if you ever get the chance to visit Omega Blacks, make sure you have permission from the people that are there, and it's definitely worth looking at. I will say this, don't expect to become a builder on their server. They're very careful about who they let in as far as building rights go. But they've got some amazing builds, and they do not want to have any griefers come in and tear it up. That being said, I'm pretty sure that they would love to give occasionally. Makes me wish I had a stamina potion. Oh, there's a corrupted Miro for anyone that doesn't know what those look like. Yeah, it would definitely help people who are nervous about corruption, such as I am, to come down and be able to be in the corruption area without being exposed to it, and get a feel for how things move around and how they work and all that. I know a lot of people actually like to come down to the corruption level and spend their time down here a lot. I do not. There's some Lumite though. It's a long, long tunnel. There's some diamond. Aha, there's the other maglev. So see, they have another train over here on this side. Other subway platform. Incoming trains. Yep, so there's their bathrooms. Guess that's one way to use that block. Assuming this is their elevator. Yep, so here is their teleporter slash train station for the other half of the city. I'll just pop out here real quick and show the people the rest of this build. Alright, so here's their salt farm. In case you don't know, you can put sand into a lava spot right here and you get salt out of it. So instead of using the recipe for salt, which requires like salt rock and or saltstone and block of or ball of goo and stuff like that, you can just use sand and lava. The bottle works. The bakery, which has little shelves and a little awning over their front counter. Here's the griefer hunters. McKinney Estate ahead. So this area is going to be a residential area, if I'm correct. For right now, it's just plots of land that people can come and build on. Oh, someone's got some thatched blocks going on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and exit this and go check out my mob spawners. So RP Junkie, I'm coming back to you. Let's see how those spawners are working out. Hopefully they're activated so people can see it. Anytime, anytime. You're still clearing and building? Yeah, they also have over like 1,500 hours of build time between the two of them. So, and that's just two of them. There was like 6 or 7 people that worked on some of those things. The first half that I showed off in detail, that was the area that Minx and Kitten spent a lot of time on by themselves. I came in and showed them how not to build a few things, and that gave them ideas on how to build things, which was... I was a part of the process. I felt important. It was nice. Alright, so it still hasn't activated, and mostly that's because nobody's been over here. This is actually about 1,500 blocks from anyone's build. So without anyone standing here